Hey everyone, so myself Mohammed Shaghil, I am SRE at Rubriks India. So I'll be presenting on the topic of precision over proliferation, just data-driven observability. Before we dive into it, I'll just give a quickly how we'll go about it. So we'll discuss the problem once and some nomenclature related to it, so that some folks who doesn't have the idea can get on the same boat. And from that point onwards, we'll discuss how we have approaching that solution and what we have done in our organization. Okay. Observability. So before observability, like we used to have monitoring. It was kind of like a check engine light of a car. We know that engine is not working, but when observability came, we had like the whole analysis report of the car that we have with ourselves. So with that, we can get to know, okay, what is wrong with the car? Maybe engine light, fuel injection is failing, and whatever not. So observability plays a really important role. Similar to that in our computer system, complex systems, observability is the eyes and ears that we use to have understanding, okay, what is being used, how it is working, if anything went wrong, why it went wrong, and what's the reason behind it, and get to the root cause. And this is the reason that if any outages happens, we don't spend weeks being stuck on it. We are able to get understanding within hours, if not less, okay, what happened and how we can go about it. How we are achieving this via observability. So generally, observability has three pillars: metrics, traces, and logs, all equally important. Today, what I am going to focus more on the one pillar of this is metrics. How we are managing metrics in our organization, and how to control different aspects of it. Before we jump to that, I just want to discuss one bit of truth about observability as well, that it is most important. It's our eyes and ears in our system, but it's costly. With the increase of development, with the increase of systems, more complex systems, we need more observability, and more observability requires more compute resources, and year-on-year growth of 20% is being reported in the industry, causing the cost bleed on the organization a lot. So in general, like 65% of the organization looking for a new observability solution, their cost is the first and major primary reason to check out before they lock in any vendor. At least I know that's the same case in our organization. Why observability cost is that high? Because related to the velocity of the development, the observability growth is 3 to 5x higher than that. If you have any one services, you might have far more metrics or logs to analyze. Like if you add one feature, the amount of metrics and logs will be maybe 5 and 10x more than what the feature that you have added. So with this approach, like the continuous increase of the growth, observability is becoming costlier and costlier, and we need different approaches to keep control the cost without shutting off our eyes and ears, because we need that on. Let's focus on the metric side of things. So what is metrics? Metrics are the first layer of the alerting system that we have. Like it gives the early alerts. It helps us in visualization. It is the one using which we track our SLAs, SLOs. We do statistical analysis, KPIs tracking, and trend analysis. All those things are done by metrics. It gives us a concise, aggregated view of the system without putting too much information out there. But this also can become this seems like a very aggregated solution, but not so descriptive as log. But this can also become very costly and compute intensive as it grows if we are not tuning our metrics correctly. So why that can happen? So the reason behind it is cardinality. So cardinality in a metrics is the most important thing while it grows in our metric infrastructure. How cardinality works is like we have the number of unique time series. So all the number of time series that are present for a given hour or a day or an instant, that defines the cardinality of that particular system. Many vendors or ourselves, we track the growth of our resources, or many vendors out there for the observability charges based on cardinality only for the metric side of things. For simpler definition, cardinality is mostly the combination of metric name, label, and label value. Any combination you can make out of it is one single time series, and the number of time series is known as the cardinality. Just to go a better mental clarity of how exactly cardinality grows or it reduces, I'll just go through a picture over here. So what it predicts is like How you can think about cardinality is like the metric itself as the root, and the different label present as the different layer starting from the root, and every path from root to child is one single time series, which will add one extra cardinality to your metric. So as we can see and observe from here, one example of a time series could be a simple metric cube for status, no namespace, and the given pod one. We can see here that the cardinality depends on the number of leaf nodes here, not too much on the intermediate nodes. That means even with or without the namespace, if you remove, the number of unique time series that we'll have will be same as with or without the namespace as well. So it's not guaranteed if you have if you remove a particular label, the cardinality will decrease, or if you add a particular label into your metrics for more information, the cardinality will increase. So if depends on which layer we are adding that label. If it is at the lowest layer, then the cardinality of that matrix, that is the unique time series, will increase. So if we can control how much unique time series we are having in our system, we can control the overall metrics resources or the cost associated with it. How in Rubrik, how we went ahead with that, how we approach this problem. General solution would go for finding a cheaper solution or moving to alternative, cheaper vendor, something like that. We have taken a methodology of working on the left side of things, left shifting, how the metrics, by building a metrics management framework. Just like how we understand the system, we need to understand our metrics. And to understand the metrics, we need observability on top of it. So what we did is like, this was the scenario before. How can I explain? Like, it's like there are a lot of developers out there which will be using these metrics, generating these metrics. And if you are not the one responsible for managing the cost or infra of metrics resources, then you will not think about what you are creating. Everything might seem to you as important, and you will just generate it and put it in the system so that you can have as much more eyes on the system as possible. But if we keep on doing that, then the person who is managing the team, the person who is managing the whole infrastructure cost as well as the resources will not be able to keep up with it. At least will not be able to track or predict how much are we going to use or spend. So that's the person, me, in the center of the box, that is mostly worried about how we can control how I can stand up to the commitment that I've given, that, okay, how much we can control and make our metrics resources predictable. For that, as I said, we'll start with having what are we pushing into the back vendors? What are we pushing into our systems? What are these metrics that is increasing so much, and are we even using it? For that, what we have done is like we extracted the metadata of the metrics, which is mostly how much cardinality it is using by different teams, how much cardinality, let's say, is being used by different services, and some usage information like is it even being used, which dashboards and all those things, and try to visualize it in a single visualization platform and make some sense out of it. The another few aspect this framework involves is like having more control and having some kind of auditing in the way, because even if you have the auditing process applied, people will not follow if you don't have the control. Like if I apply something that, okay, please follow this convention moving forward, and there's no checks on the way, they will not follow that convention most likely. So if you're saying that, okay, you can't move ahead past through this position if you don't follow the convention that we have applied in our organization, then only the system or framework that you have think of will be applied and used as an organization inside within your teams. So from these things, the data that we extracted, after visualizing it, having some auditing and control, we found that, okay, there are basically two ways we can go about solving this problem with this data. First, we identify different categories of metrics, and we can come up with different tailored solution for each category that can be that can provide better user experience while reducing the cardinality at the end, resulting the reduction of cost. The another approach is how can we have a better model within the organization to manage the metrics cardinality. Main model for that was dollar per query. Dollar per query is, you can think of it as like a efficiency metric. So we analyze our team's usage of the metrics resources based on this exact model, dollar per query. So this justifies, okay, are we using these metrics enough or not? Our particular team metrics usage is justifiable, or they are just saying that, okay, we are a bigger team, we make a lot of revenue, let us go through. So no, this dollar per query gives an insight on that. Okay, how much is efficient our team is using that. And using this, we have made a team self-management model in which they can themselves manage what metrics they are using, how can they optimize on top of it, and how can they reduce their own usage that they are currently using, and do not waste anything while growing as an organization. So let's go to the first part of it, the dollar per query, which is part of the metric usage dashboard. So how we have defined dollar per query, the first one is the simple one, that we have defined an average dollar per query. Let's say we understand, okay, how much per cardinality cost to us, and that different teams that are present is how much they are able to ingest into the system. So it's not limited to one team will be having only one metric. A single metric can be ingested by, let's say, all the teams that are present in our organization, contributing different percentage of cardinality for a single metrics. So that also we extract it out, and at the end see, okay, what is the total cardinality being ingested by a particular team, and how many queries are being done on that metric. Query is independent of that team. Query can do anyone. That particular team can query that metrics, or anyone in the organization can query that metrics. That justifies, okay, someone is using it. That's, as long as someone is using it, I can understand, okay, things are like this is being well utilized as per compared to the cost or cardinality ingestion that it is being putting through. So once we have this number, dollar per query, what will we do about it? So it's a simple floating number. We are not able to understand anything. What to do about it? So we had listed out all the metrics and just extracted the P75th dollar per query. So all the teams, out of which, what is the P75th team's dollar per query? And we take it as a benchmark to say, okay, whoever is below this number, above this number, that means you guys are doing something wrong. All of the organization is well within this number, and you 25% of these this 25% teams are well above this P75 dollar per query, giving us an idea. Okay, these are the first place. Maybe we should start optimizing. Maybe we should asking them, what are you doing wrong that your dollar per query is so high? You are not efficiently utilizing the resources that has been allocated to you. Is there a reason for it? Maybe spend some time on it. Not bothering every single team every single time when we are close to breaching our limits and all. What more information does this dashboard have? We keep the information, first of all, like dollar per query. We keep information, how much cardinality it is using for that particular team, that particular service, or that particular cluster. How much like cardinality has increased over monthly or weekly. What is the top 20, top 30, whatever highest cardinality consumption metrics list are there, which is the lowest utilized metrics, which is unused metrics based on the past 30 days data. All those information, they can just select, okay, my team is this, my service is this, what's the result out of it? So it lists out all those things. Apart from the basic dollar per query, we also have something called amortized dollar per query. So why we use this is understand, okay, I got to know that I am in the bottom 25% of my organization. My metric users is in the worst in my organization. But is it with all my metrics, or is it like some of my metrics are causing this to happen? So the spread of dollar per query, that efficiency spread, that will be told by these P50, P95, and P90 dollar per queries. So what it does is like, okay, P50 is well within what the average in my organization was. That means 50% of my metrics are good enough. Even let's say P90 was well within the average dollar per query that we had. That means 90% of my metrics were being utilized good enough. That means the problem that is being caused was the tail 10% of the metrics. So we can just focus on optimizing those part, and we can have our like efficiency improved for that particular team. What more information do we keep track? Like apart from the dollar per query, we do have the information like per metric, what is where it is being used. Is it being present in dashboards, alerts? Is it being executed? That dashboard being executed someday or not? Alerts obviously will be executed. How many users are using these metrics on a daily basis? So with this information, we use, if some metric is found that, okay, it's very important, it's high cardinality, but it's not being used that well. Why it is not being used that well? To understand that level of granularity, then the team can use that, okay, how much we have used, go to the understanding of dashboard executions, alerts, and drill, okay, why we are not using it well. So when we had that, after that, what we did, like, okay, for a quick proof of concept, let's collaborate with top 3 teams that we have. We did that, and we showed that the dashboard is this, like we have all the information, how you are using the metrics, how much cardinality you are ingesting into the system. And based on that, we asked, okay, can you do some, identify what are the bottlenecks and where can we optimize? And very quickly, we were able to save 66% of the reduction in the cardinality of the whole organization. That gives us the proof that, okay, this way we are going, that can result in more and more better streamlined metric infrastructure that we have, so that we can grow while not wasting the too much money that we should on the metrics infrastructure. Once we had this information, we have tried with the team. Now we wanted to enforce, or let's say the organization, the teams, to use this moving forward. How we, like, everything is placed, but people are not tend to use it unless we have some kind of limitation put up on them. So what we did is, like, we placed an quota system for different teams. We, based on their current usage, we allocated for the top 10 teams, okay, these are the predefined metric resources that you are going to use. And if required more, you can ask us to, okay, as to the central observability team, please increase our quota. Please give us more metric resources so that we can use. And we can, with the justification, okay, that you are using. Now, with this model, they get the alerts, okay, if they are using it well or not. And they, using the previous dashboards, they can come and justify, okay, man, look, I have my dollar per query well within the limits and my usage seems to be okay. We need more resources as we are growing the business, and that is justifiable. For us as an observability team, that too is very easy to allow them to, okay, renew their metrics quota, because we can also justify to the management, okay, we are growing and this is very justified, nothing is going waste here, it's fully optimized team, and we can go forward and maybe if scale up or buy more from the vendor if required. That was one part of the solution. So we understood, okay, we have the information, insights, observability, and then we had the pipeline, a model of quotas and allocation, so that all the teams are themselves now using this dashboards to optimize their metrics. This is the part where we shared the responsibility of managing the metrics to the teams who are generating themselves, instead of the first scenario where everybody was just putting the metrics and one team was responsible for managing. Now, as a central observability, part of the central observability team, now we had the information ourselves as well, that we are able to see the insights of the metrics after having those data as well. So we identified different categories of the metrics that we can optimize, different solutions for tailored solution for different use cases. One of the use cases was on-demand metrics. So why do we want to not to persist metrics if we want to have them? So it can be a case that somebody who has created this metric in the system and then used it for the time being and then forgot about it. It can be that we want more metrics to deploy, but obviously deploying the production takes time because it's a release cycle and all those things. So if you want new metrics, it will take time, and that may not be obvious choice at that moment. So this gives a more flexibility to the team. Let's have the metrics push into the team, but it will not be ingested to the final destination. It will be dropped at the control layer, so that you have the choice to enable it whenever you want. So that's when the idea of on-demand came. In this, what we did, mostly 2 use cases we found, okay, this works really fabulous, is first the dev environment. In the development environment, people need these metrics few minutes or maybe few hours or few days, few weeks, not continuously, but a lot of the things keep on running continuously as it was with our organization. People keep on deploying and maybe forgetting how to remove it, and we can't allow tailored, okay, each time you go and change something so that your metrics are removed. So using this on-demand metrics feature, what we did is like made the metrics based on demand whenever they need it. Similar thing can be used for the debugging side as well. So while debugging, you have a lot of metrics which are there. Just quickly enable it, and at the time of incident management, just see, okay, with much more eyes on the system, okay, what exactly could be going wrong on this one. How exactly we implemented? Simply as client-server model, we had the server managing the request for making the metrics on demand available. People can just use the client, define, okay, which metrics or which label value combination they can provide, that I want team equals to A metrics to be available on cluster equals to, let's say, K1. So with this information, we patch at the drop control plane layer, where we just say, okay, just previously we were dropping this metric, we patch it at that moment, okay, enable this metric now. And we add in the database, okay, this enablement has been asked for only this many time, like 1 day, 2 day, or 3 days of time, a few hours of time. A background process keeps on running and checking and cleaning up every hour. Okay, if the process is expired, let's remove those metrics rules away from the control plane, so that now the ingestion can be stopped. With this, we are able to mostly achieve like 8% of cardinality reduction on adopting this process only for the development environment. We are in the process of adopting this for the debugging metrics of production environment, with where we expecting at least reduction of metrics, apart from having been capable to have more eyes on the system when we need it. So with development environment, we are able to only right now get 8% cardinality directly. Now this reduction is a bit different from the previous one. How this helps, like whenever there is load, more people are testing, more features are trying, it may go up 1 or 2%. But because of the transient nature of the solution that it removes after the requirement is finished, again, the overall cardinality of the system reduced back to the original wherever we had, let's say, few millions of cardinality we have, so that it's continuous controlled environment is being formed because of this nature of the solution, that it is on demand and transient. Another type of category of solution, category of metrics use cases that we found out was batch metrics. So I will not go too much detail in the technical of this one. That could be a separate talk itself. But the type of metric that this was like these metrics are like people are okay with these metrics being available in non-real time. That is, let's say if I want those metrics to be visualized, let's say in a week, I'm ready to wait for 15 minutes or let's say even an hour. So these kind of scenarios is where the batch metrics type of solution applies. So what we did is, like for the selected metrics which people are able to wait for the duration to get the metrics available and then visualize, we moved it to a cheaper block storage or blob storage kind of solution, and then we provided them with the corresponding APIs to enable those metrics, load those metrics whenever they need at any point of time, and visualize in Grafana or any dashboard that they are using. So this process is currently ongoing. Till now, we have identified 10% of our metrics cases were there, which people were just putting the metrics to analyze the trend. But for trend analysis, it's not a world-breaking scenario that you need to have that at this instant in 1 second, and you need to have that right now. So they can wait for, let's say, 10 minutes. If they want to discuss in some meeting, they can enable the metrics 10 minutes prior, 15 minutes prior, and then visualize and discuss on that. And then after that, it will be removed when after some time when the requirements are done. So batch metrics gives the on-demand kind of scenario, but for historical metrics. And the previous one, on-demand metric itself, was for the live enablement of the metrics, which are stopped because right now it's not adding value to the system too much. Lastly, we have focused apart from this to we have observed that, okay, even with the quotas and everything, teams are not able to do all those things themselves. There are few things, because on the team level, it can be very small that they don't find it as important to do themselves. Okay, it's very small number, let's leave it. But when we as a central observability team see that as a whole organizational level, we find that that's a huge number being adding up, and maybe we should do something about it to get it optimized. So what is that we are talking about? Mostly like we can relate to the concept like if you are not using something or wearing some clothes, let's say for very long time, it's better to get rid of it. It's just clogging up, like cluttering your wardrobe and just creating mess for you to find out, okay, what you want, what you don't want. So what we do is like we generate the unused metric list every quarter potentially, and then we share this metric list with the respective stakeholders, announce them. We could have automated it, but we want teams to mostly take time before they can move ahead, okay, whether they want these metrics or not. Possibly add some action, do you need these metrics or not? Why are you not using it for about a month? 30 days is the period that we evaluate for. Why are you not using, let's say it is present in a dashboard. Why have you not executed or opened that dashboard for a month? Is it something like only for the incident, or is it something that you created during the test, added in the dashboard and forgot about it? So once those things are done, they have added action if you want to keep or not, then we remove these metrics at the end of, let's say we give 1 or 2 weeks of time, and then we remove these metrics from the system at the control layer, which they can enable any point of time if actual requirement comes up. This was the biggest win that we have found till now that contributes like we have done this like 4 times, and we have got till now 16% of cardinality reduction. Every time we go, there are more clutter available to be cleaned up. And somehow like with the last quarter, we have observed the fast advancement of AI. This is far more than the previous quarter and increasing each quarter as we grow the business as well. So obviously with the increase of velocity, the bugs is increasing as well as the clutter is also increasing. So by reducing the unused cardinality metrics, we are saving, till now we have saved 16% of it. Obviously, even after removing the unused, it will not be a very clean wardrobe. It will still look a bit messy, but at least you will know whatever you have been putting it, you will be using it today or tomorrow. So once these things are done, like we have the framework, we had the tailored solution, we had the convention team model, how they can manage themselves, how total out of all this framework and the tailored solution, we were able to optimize 40% of cardinality, or I can say the cost from the metrics itself over a year of time. So with this methodology, we have found that, okay, not only the previous year, the next year going forward, we can have a major portion of this metrics cardinality controlled well within within our limits and be predictable. We can predict, okay, now the growth rate is this much, then how much will be the increase, let's say potentially next year and next quarter based on the current system that we have built. Because as we said, some of the systems on demand and all, they increase transiently and then come back to the level that it was before. How you can go about it to do in your organization as well. So first and foremost, you need to have that metric usage framework. You need to have the eyes on the usage, how people are using it, how each metric is being, whether each metric is being justified or not. It takes some initial times to set that up, have the jobs, export the data out of it, push it into like maybe same metrics information, or maybe some cheaper solutions to visualize. Once that is done, that is the core foundation to identify different optimizations for your specific scenarios. You can then focus on identifying the different categories that we tried. We found that, okay, in our cases, there are many metrics which are short-lived, and that might not be. Then we can do something about it. If it is short-lived, why keep on ingesting every single time? There are many metrics which people are okay to have some amount of delay in it. If it's the same case with you, then you can work on it. Similarly, for a different organization, there can be a specific different categories of problems that you can find out based on this insight or framework usage framework that we have. After that, mostly we just build a controlled solution, tailored solution. The solution that I have discussed, on-demand dev metrics and batch metrics, these are mostly generic and should be able to apply to almost all the organization. But I'm pretty sure that you will find some specific categories of use cases that is very unique to your organization, and that will require some intuitive solution that will help for your organization only. And lastly, I'll like to give a note on like why right now precision over proliferation is important. Why quality is important than quantity. We have seen that with the growth of AI, the development is way faster now. And with the development, people are not able to understand, okay, they are generating code, they are very confused, okay, what code I'm generating, so they want to put more logs, more metrics out of it, so that they know, okay, the things that they are going to run is going to be okay, it's going to be running fine, it won't break the system. And because of that, metrics and logs are going way exponential as compared to the rate of the development is increasing. So only optimizing the cost side of thing, only optimizing the end storage, going to a cheaper vendor, going to a cheaper storage will not limit will not make you safe from the inevitable cost breach or the resource breach that you are having, because the growth trajectory is now just upscaled with the AI tools that we are having. So we need to focus on what we are putting. We need to identify precision over proliferation. Okay, what is the quality things we are ingesting, so that apart from having a cheaper solution at the end, we can justify for each metrics why we are ingesting it and whether it is even needed or not. So with that, I will conclude that, okay, with great velocity, in our organization will great cardinality. So the metrics cardinality will increase as fast as you move the development. So we're using these principles. We can truly have control over what we are ingesting and make each metrics justify for itself. Yeah, so with this, we are at the end of the talk. I've shared my email, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer right now, if any doubts or anything else.